Now, I know this is probably going to set off some alarms for some of you, but I didn't think Spider-Man 3 was terrible. I put it on par with Part 1.
Okay, so something is definitely not right.
So with Spider-Man Homecoming right around the corner, I thought it would be appropriate for me to show some love for my favorite series of movies, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Now, I know what you're thinking, but LeRon, why don't you like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies? Because I don't? Now, there's definitely a lot of things that I like about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, and if I spoke on them all of you readers would get tired of my voice with the quickness.
That's where I come in, complete with my punchable face and incredibly grating voice.
Hey, thanks a lot for helping me out in this video, Comic Drake. I'm pretty sure you'll catch a lot of the things that I'll probably miss.
No problem, man. It's not every day that my Magic 8 Ball brings me to someone else's channel, so this is gonna be pretty cool.
Right, your Magic 8 Ball, that's actually magic. And that I shouldn't be afraid of despite not knowing the limitations of its power.
You alright, dude?
Yeah, I'm fine. Let's start.
Alright, man. It's your video. After you.
Yeah, sure. Let's let's start with one of my favorite things that I like about the trilogy, Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker. Now, for a lot of us, his interpretation of Peter Parker was our first live-action version of the character. People like me only experienced Peter Parker in the form of the animated Spider-Man series. You know, the one with the guitar solo. And given the fact that I wasn't an avid reader of Spider-Man comics back when the movie came out in 2002, let alone Marvel comics in general, the animated series was my only source of knowledge for a lot of things regarding the Spider-Man mythos overall. So when I saw Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker over the course of these 3 movies, I definitely liked what I saw. Even now that the series has aged, I saw Tobey Maguire portray an awkward nerd that grew into himself, struggle with a lot of the things that we struggle with in the real world, and develop in ways that I've never seen a superhero develop before. His performance in all 3 of these movies made those of us who didn't really grow up with the character like that realize that Peter Parker is the underdog that everybody is constantly rooting for. Something that, in my opinion, the Amazing Spider-Man movies failed to capture. And each movie did a good job in actively portraying this in its own ways, including Spider-Man 3, using the symbiote as a way of showing what would happen if Peter just completely ran out of fucks to give, regarding everything he's encountered as both the hero and the man over the course of his journey.
You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door!
Best line ever!
Say what you will about the symbiote plot making Peter go all scene kid, but this just shows off that Peter Parker is more than just an underdog. He is a dork. You have to remember that Peter was that awkward geek in high school. So when Peter is going around popping dance moves, this is what he thinks a cool person looks like. It's extremely cringeworthy, but that's pretty much what every dork trying to act cool looks like. I may or may not know this from personal experience.
Speaking of the symbiote, with the exception of Venom due to Avi Arad's direct involvement in the franchise after 2, all of the villains were handled very well. And by very well, I mean that we got a good and thorough look at their origins, their motivations, and what makes them tick. Before then, the closest thing we've got to this level of development for a villain in a superhero flick was Penguin and Catwoman in Batman Returns.
This is something that we just don't see in superhero films these days. With a few minor examples, the villains in these movies aren't really all that developed, and just exist to be the bad guy. The Raimi movies understand that you need to give the characters actual arcs, and give them time to develop more than just their evil plots. It just makes sense that compelling villains make a more well-rounded story.
It also helps that, once again, with the exception of Venom, every villain that has made it in this Spider-Man trilogy is a personal favorite of Sam Raimi. And it's because of these connections that Sam Raimi has with these characters that they were able to stand out in different and meaningful ways. Not only did the movie do a great job expressing the duality of the character, but Willem Dafoe's portrayal of Green Goblin and Norman Osborn constantly showed that struggle on screen. And the fact that both Norman and Peter's origins happened at the same time did a great job establishing him as Spider-Man's arch-nemesis. It also helped that he continued to be a malevolent force over the course of the entire trilogy, even after his death.
Raimi's version of the Goblin is the ideal example of an arch-nemesis. What sets them apart from a normal villain is that they always seem to be there. Batman is always being haunted by the Joker, and always is fearing when he'll strike next. Loki has his finger in nearly every single plot against his brother Thor, usually manipulating from the shadows. For the Raimi Spider-Man movies, it always feels like Norman Osborn is haunting Peter and even his son Harry from beyond the grave.
Raimi giving Sandman the backstory, origin, and the more direct connection to Peter Parker, in a way did to the character what Marvel Studios did to Iron Man. Before Spider-Man 3, Sandman was just looked at as another bank robber with powers, a villain of the weak member of Spidey's rogues gallery. This version of Sandman had depth, his backstory was a tragic one centered around forgiveness, and the changes allowed the film to successfully follow the trilogy rule without feeling forced. And then, of course, there's the 8-limbed mechanical monstrosity in the room, Dr. Octopus. Time and time again, it has been stated, quoted, crafted, conjured, whatevered, that this is Sam Raimi's favorite Spider-Man villain in the mythos, and in Spider-Man 2, it shows. The scene in which Doc Ock gained his limbs was one of the most intense supervillain origin scenes I have ever seen and still holds up to this day. And the same can be said about the scene of the doctors trying to surgically remove the mechanical limbs, in which Spider-Man 2 became a horror movie for almost 3 minutes. The fact that Raimi put so much time and development into Doc Ock this way, to not only show the audience that he's a bona fide threat that was born from tragedy, but also give him a redemption arc in the same movie, just proves how much he loves this character. And that passion respectively translate on screen in every aspect, from the creative decisions made throughout, to casting Alfred Molina as Dr. Octavius. Now, readers, do you understand why I like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy so much? You understand where I'm coming from, right, Drake?
Yeah, I mean, I totally do, but you seem way more interested in talking about the movies than to me. I mean... Oh, okay. Right. It's the ball. Okay, dude, I'm sorry if it makes you uncomfortable. I'll just... It's gone.
I mean, it normally doesn't. I see them all the time, but we just met.
Okay, but like, how much time do you need to not be afraid of a toy?
Give me until October.
What happens in October?
Don't worry about that anyway, readers. Your homework assignment for the day! Write in the comments section below something you enjoy about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. And just like how Drake helped me out on this video, I helped him out on one of his talking about all the instances in which Spider-Man had organic web shooters. So head on over to his channel and check it out. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and every other Friday. But until then, this is Readus 101. Class dismissed.